401k catch-up contributions are about to go through a significant overhaul, a huge change coming thanks to the Secure Act 2.0. I've got that change and what it means for you. That and more coming up. My name is Mike Bernardo, the host of the Wise Money Show. I'm also one of the certified financial planners right here at Korhorn Financial Group. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and smash that thumbs up button. The Secure Act 2.0, it has changed everything. It will change your financial plan, your financial decisions, your financial strategies, and just, guys, your financial life is more connected than ever before and needs proactive tax planning more than ever before. Not my idea. I love the flexibility that the changes within the Secure Act created, Secure Act 2.0 created. You've got more choice, but it is just mind-numbingly complicated. Just doing the right thing financially is just, knowing what the right thing to do is just so complicated. And to me, one of the biggest shockers within the Secure Act 2.0 law is the change that will, yes, the 529 to Roth, we'll talk about that. Okay, that's an enormous one. But to me, one of the biggest shockers right along with that is the changes to catch-up contributions. All right, set the stage before we get into that. You've got to first know, and most of you know this, but within your 401k, if your 401k plan allows it, and most of them do, you're allowed to make contributions into the pre-tax side of your 401k or into the Roth side of your 401k. Pre-tax, your contributions are pre-tax. So just like it sounds, if you contribute, $1,000 a month or, 10% out of each paycheck, whatever, as you make that contribution, it's a deduction from your income, deducted right there on your W-2, meaning you don't have to claim the money that you contributed to your 401k. It doesn't get taxed this year. It doesn't land on your tax return this year. It's pre-tax. And it's invested inside your 401k. And then whenever you retire and start withdrawing this money out, that's when you pay the tax on it. Okay, so that's the pre-tax side. Most 401ks now, not all, most have a Roth 401k as well. So within the same account, instead of your contributions going pre-tax, you can decide to have them go Roth, meaning they're not a deduction this year. The money, the 10 grand, the $1,000 a month that you put in, or the 10% that you put in out of your paycheck, isn't a deduction on your tax return. You've got to pay the tax on that. But then that money, it's invested however you choose, and then all of that money and the growth comes out and you don't have to pay tax on it when you withdraw it in retirement. All of that growth is tax-free, and because you never deducted that Roth contribution in the first place, you don't have to pay tax on it when you withdraw it. So your one 401k can have both in it. You can have pre-tax dollars in there and Roth dollars in there. And each and every year, you've got to do the tax planning, working with your CFP to say, well, does it make sense for me to contribute to my 401k pre-tax, where I'm getting the tax benefit today, but I'll have to pay taxes in the future, or Roth, where I'm not getting the tax benefit today, but all the growth on those dollars will be tax-free? That's a tax planning decision that you'll work on with your certified financial planner. So now that we understand that, we also need to understand catch-up contributions. Now, catch-up contributions, all of us have a limit as to how much we can contribute to our 401k. Same thing applies to our IRA, Roth IRA as well, but talk about the 401k. So you can contribute up to 100% of what you earn at that job, wherever you're working, but not to exceed up to $22,500. Okay, so if you make more than $22,500, you can contribute up to that limit. Okay, so that's fantastic. That's your contribution limit to your 401k for 2023. But when you turn age 50, the year that you turn age 50, the IRS says, all right, you're reaching the red zone here. You're getting closer to retirement. We're going to let you contribute even more if you want to. And the catch-up contribution, starting at age 50, is $7,500. So you can do $22,500 plus $7,500 when you're age 50. So a total of 30 grand can be going into your 401k starting at age 50. Now, within the Secure Act 2.0, they've increased that catch-up contribution limit at age 60, 61, 62, 63, and 64. and then it reverts back to the way it was at 65. We'll go over that in a different video, but make sure that you know that those laws have changed. But you've got to know, and I think most of you do, that at age 50, you're allowed to start doing catch-up contributions, more contributions, a bigger contribution to your 401k. All right, so that's all laying the groundwork. Now the big change. Starting in 2024, so not this year, starting next year, because everyone's going to scramble and figure out how in the world do we do this? How in the world do we pull this off? If you earn $145,000 or more from your employer, so not total income, not dividends, capital gains, all that sort of real estate income, all that, but more than $145,000 from that employer, and you're doing catch-up contributions, so you're age 50 or more, those catch-up contributions have to go into the Roth side of your 401k. They have to. You're going to be no longer able, if you earn more than that amount, more than $145,000, and you want to contribute pre-tax, you can do so with your normal contributions, but your catch-up contributions must go into the Roth 401k. Why is the question? And to me, I wonder, why make this so complicated? But the answer, the reason is obvious. The IRS, because you are using the Roth side, that income, that money that you're contributing is not a deduction on your taxes this year. Therefore, the IRS can tax that money. And because we're running such a big deficit, and because we have such a big, so much national debt, they need that tax revenue. Therefore, if you're highly comped, and the way they're calling it right now is in regards to this section of the law is you make $145,000 or more from that job, from that employer. No, your catch-up contribution has to go Roth because they don't want you to be able to deduct that on your taxes. Wildly complicated and requires proactive tax planning. Now, here's the kicker, okay? I mentioned earlier that a Roth 401k, the ability to have your 401k have a Roth contribution, it's not mandatory. I thought it was, and it's not, okay? Most plans have it, not all of them. So if you work at a company where it's not allowed, they don't allow Roth 401ks, does that just mean then, well, gosh, if you make more than $145,000, you're not able to do the Roth, so you'll just do pre-tax? No, the law actually states no one is allowed to do catch-up contributions in the entire company. Guys, I'm not making this up, and I hope that they clarify the language, or maybe the IRS changes how this is actually supposed to work, but that's what the law says. That it's not just if your company doesn't offer a Roth 401k contribution and you make more than $145,000, it's not just that, well, then you're not allowed to do a catch-up, or your catch-up contribution has to be pre-tax. No. No one at the company is allowed to do a catch-up contribution. Can you believe this? So ultimately, it's going to mean all 401ks. So if you run a business, own a business, and you don't have a Roth 401k available, you've got to set that up. You've got to add that. You've got to make that change within this year, because otherwise, that's just, you have a 401k plan to benefit yourself and your employees for a employee benefit. Not having a Roth is going to eliminate a significant part of that benefit, and it's going to stand out. So you're going to want to make that change. But the big point is, you've got a year to figure out how this is going to impact you. As you are preparing and saving up for retirement, when you turn age 50, you now have the ability to make catch-up contributions. And thanks to the new law, when you turn age 60, those catch-up contributions expand for 4 years as well. But you've got to know, if you make more than $145,000 from that employer, from that job, from that company, those catch-up contributions have to be Roth. What are some ways around this? Guys, there's not many. Number one, it appears as though self-employed individuals are going to be exempt from this. So if you're self-employed and you have a solo 401k that you set up for yourself, it looks like you're still going to be able to do your full contribution and your match, your full contribution and your catch-up contribution pre-tax. It looks like that. We'll see as more interpretation is kind of comes out on this law. So that's one, is to be self-employed. Two, it looks also like you could change employers. And you're obviously not going to do that just to get this benefit, just to circumvent this rule, but just know in years that you change employers, it appears as though the way the law is written is that if you make more than $145,000 from that plan sponsor. So if you make $100,000 from one job and then leave that employer and go to another employer where you make, $60,000 during that year, it looks like you're able to do pre-tax catch-up contributions, even though your total compensation from wages is above that $145,000 threshold. Guys, this has made things much more complicated. This is not a favorable change, in my opinion. I am a big fan of the Roth. I don't like the requirement that you must do a Roth on catch-up contributions if your income's above a certain threshold, but they didn't ask me. So we've got a plan for it. You've got a plan for it. Work with your certified financial planner. Doesn't take an effect until 2024, but see how this adapts your financial plan. Work with your CFP on that. If you don't have a CFP on your team, contact one on my team. Find us online, Korhorn.com. That's Korhorn with K. WiseMoneyShow.com. You can find us there as well, or send us an email, info@Korhorn.com. All right, there you have it. Go out and take your next wise step in your financial life.